Hi everyone, this is Kim Goyette, your meditation mother, coming to you live from Austin, Texas. Well, I know in these unique conditions, many of us are working from home and not sitting in official office chairs, more like tables at the kitchen or maybe a bed or a couch. And oftentimes when you're sitting in those types of non-traditional postures, you can start to get a low backache. If you let it go a little bit further and not address it, you might even feel sensations of numbing or tingling or even a shooting pain down your legs. And that's called sciatica. So today I'm going to help you to address any special needs to relieve the sciatic nerve so that you can feel free from pain. So today we will need either a block, a pillow, or a blanket to prop ourselves. So you can grab that and let's get started.
Yoga for everybody with Meditation Mutha.
So we're going to start on our backs. Keep your black blanket or pillow handy next to you. I'm going to come to laying all the way down nice and slow on my back. And we're going to start in a constructive rest pose. So allow your feet to come a little bit closer to your glutes. And we will take a moment to lift the hips up about an inch off the mat. Scoot them more towards your heels, but keep your shoulder blades where they are. And traction out the spine. So today we're going to be focusing a lot on creating space, because when we create space, we allow freedom and flow to happen within the body. And right now, you may have a pinched nerve, and that's what's that shooting pain or tingling sensation. So we're going to create space in the low back, in the hips, so that we can create a little freedom and flow there. Let's hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. If bringing your knees directly in isn't comfortable for you, bring them nice and wide, whatever feels right for you today. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. We're going to rock side to side and massage the low back for a moment. And if any of this is super uncomfortable, you just stay where you need to be today. So I'm even coming to the outer edge of my hip as I roll, getting into the SI joint a little bit in the back. So just giving yourself a massage, allowing for some movement in the low back and hips. And coming back to center. Plant one hand on each knee. Fingertips point towards the toes. Allow your feet to relax. We're going to start to make circles, almost like a rowboat. So we'll draw the knees in towards the chest, bring the knees nice and wide, and then around in a circle back to center. Do it again. Draw the knees into the chest. Take it out wide and come all the way back around. We'll begin to connect our breath with the movement. So exhaling as you draw the knees in, inhaling as you push away, really slowing things down. Do this for several more times. Creating some heat or warmth in the hip joint. Almost like your femur bone is a spoon and you're stirring a pot. And the pot is in the hips and pelvis. Good. A few more times in this direction. And then coming back to center. Let's push away. We'll do the opposite way. So push away, allow the knees to fall open, and then draw back to center. Again, pushing away, knees fall open. Just warming up, lubricating that joint, getting some synovial fluid in that area. So connecting the breath with the movement. Inhale as we push away. Exhale as we bring it back to center. So you might start feeling some heat or warmth in the hip joint. Just allow that to happen. Let your legs flow freely, relaxing without lots of stiff movement. One more time around. And then bring the knees back to center. We're going to hug the right knee into the chest. Lengthen the left leg all the way down below. Relax your heel on the ground. Give yourself a nice hug. So whether you can pull your knees straight in or you need to go a little bit wider today, that's totally fine. So we're creating some compression in the hip. So when we release, we'll send all that blocked energy down and out. So just a little bit of healthy compression. Bring the knee back to center. Bring your hands behind your thigh this time and flex the foot. So we're going to take the hands, clasp them behind the thigh, and then push the thigh into the hands to straighten the arms. So my leg is pushing this way towards my heel. My foot is flexed, and it's not a big movement. It's actually just resistance against my own hands. So here we're creating a little bit of space, but we want to create as much space as possible. So notice your right hip. See if you can curve it or move it just slightly down and in towards your left ankle, and you might feel more of an opening on the right side. This is allowing your sits bones to separate, and that's what creates the space in the low back and relieves any tension within the pinched nerve. So keep that resistance. Push your thigh into your hand. Take a few breaths here. We're going to continue with that resistance, but straighten the leg up towards the sky. The foot comes up towards the sky. So if you have a lot of intense pain because of your sciatica, you may have to keep your knee bent. So maybe it's here for you, and that's fine. Continue to push into the hands, or maybe you work your way up. Whatever is your position today is totally fine. So I already feel it. I notice that I'm tight down the outside of my outer right thigh. Push your thigh into your hands again. Notice your right hip. Create that movement of down and in towards the left ankle. And you'll notice again your sits bones separating. Allow that to happen. Let's take one more deep breath into the hamstrings, down the back of the leg. And then you can kind of rotate the ankle a little bit in one direction and then the opposite direction. And coming back to center. Let's keep the leg, the right hand on the outer right thigh. You can bring your left hand to your left hip to ground yourself down. Turn your right toes towards your right shoulder. So the right heel comes in, the right toes go out. And then allow that leg to fall open. Rest your right elbow all the way on the ground. I'm holding my leg in my hand and my leg is relaxed. So my hand and elbow are doing the support and work. My leg is just falling open, giving a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. Stay here for just a couple breaths. And then on an exhale, coming back to center, we're going to do just the opposite now. So flex the foot. Your knee can stay as bent as you need to. We're going to take the heel wide this time and the toes in. Bring your left hand to your inner thigh. Right hand can come open out to the right. And we're just going to cross the body. It might just be subtly until you feel sensation in your outer right leg into the hip. So for me, it's a very small move. I feel it right away. So wherever you are today, keep that foot flexed if you can, and angle your right toes up towards your left shoulder this time. You might feel a little bit more intense, and your left hand can do a little bit of the support. If you want more sensation, take your right thumb and put it right where your hip joint meets on the right side and push down and away, down towards your feet, as you pull up with the left hand. Ooh, I feel that today. That's called your IT band, what you're feeling, and that's going to help create space as well. Notice our right hip is moving down and in towards our left ankle to create some space in between the sits bones. Take one more deep breath here. My leg's shaking. How about yours? And then come back to center. Release that leg all the way down. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring your hands to both hips and just notice any warmth in the hip joint, differences from right to left. So for me, my right hip is warm, which makes me realize that I had some blocked energy there, and when we did compression, now I'm releasing, letting blood flow freely through my leg. Let's try the other side. So we're going to hug both knees into the chest. Grab onto the left knee this time, lengthen the right leg. Give yourself a nice hug. Again, you can bring it straight into your chest or out wide a little, whatever feels good for your hip joint. And give a nice, healthy compress, squeeze. Relax the muscles of the face. Bring your hands to the back of the thigh, flex your foot, push your thigh into the hands. So again, we're feeling that subtle resistance against the hands. My arms are long. Keep the thigh pressed into the hands. Notice your left hip this time and bring your left hip down and in towards your right foot. Your left side body will open and lengthen. Good. Stay here for a few breaths. Belly is long, chest up towards the sky. And then we're going to start to lengthen that leg. Again, one side might be very different than the other, and you might need to keep your knee bent. So wherever you are today, here or here or here, wherever that is for you, just on the edge of sensation. Continue to push your thigh into your hand and bring your awareness to your left hip again. Move it down and in towards your right ankle. Create more space on the left side. Few breaths going up and down the hamstring, the back of the leg. And then we'll take the right hand to our right hip. Angle your left toes towards your left shoulder and just allow the leg to fall open. My elbow is resting, my leg is resting in my hand. Ground down with your right hand to help you even out your hips and just let that left leg go. Open up the inner thigh. Take a few breaths here. And on an exhale, bring that leg back up to center. This time we can bring that the left arm out to the left. Bring your right hand to your inner thigh on the left leg. Flex that foot. Kick your left heel out wide. Bring your left toes towards your right shoulder and then start to cross the body just a little bit until you feel sensation. I feel it already. So all the way down my outer leg, my IT band into the hip. A great stretch for helping to relieve some pressure in the low body. If you want a little bit more sensation, take your right hand and pull your leg up towards your right shoulder, and then you can take your left thumb, put it to the hip, and push it down and away as you do that. Oh yeah, that's turning it up a notch. Take a few more breaths here. Again, my leg's shaking, which means things are turning on. And coming back to center, relax that leg all the way down. Stay here for a moment, close the eyes, bring your hands on your hips. Notice how your hips are connecting to the earth. Maybe one leg feels heavier than the other, just noticing the differences between right and left. So from here, you can bring your arms along your side, bend the knees, plant the feet on the floor, and bring your heels a little bit closer to your glutes. We'll have our feet hips distance apart. And then we're going to grab our block, blanket, pillow, wherever you have handy today. I'm going to turn my block the skinny way and place it in between my legs. So the block or blanket or pillow is here. And I'm going to bring my arms along my side for a moment. Let's do a gentle squeeze. So first I want you to notice the connection of the hips to the earth, and then do a gentle squeeze and see where your sits bones reside and where your SI joint resides now. So when I have an inward spiral because I'm squeezing the block gently, my sits bone separates, my SI joint separates, and it creates some freedom in the low back. So stay here with just that gentle squeeze. You don't need to make a big effort. We're going to relax the upper body and just stay here for a couple of breaths. Notice the low belly. See if you can draw your low belly in and up towards your ribs. Again, lengthening the spine. Keep that gentle squeeze. Bring your hands behind your head. Fingers can clasp. And then we're going to allow the elbows to point up towards the sky. Give a little bit of a crunch. Keep your low body where it is, and we're just going to walk the shoulder blades up higher towards the top of our mat. So one shoulder blade walks up and the other, tractioning out the spine, Maybe one more time, and then allow the head to rest. If you want, you can keep your hands behind your head, elbows open, chest is open, heart centered. Give a little squeeze into your block again. Lift your low belly in and up. Notice the space you're creating. And then allow your hands to come onto your thighs, and we're going to press the thighs down and away, relieving some of that pressure, just pushing into the low thighs, relaxing the back, maybe feeling a little bit of a separation or relief from the hips, the pelvis, the low back, just pushing and releasing, allowing that to happen. Good. And then push and hold. And release all the way down. Let's release the block. Move it off to the side for a moment. Roll over to your side and push your way all the way up. We're going to work on one more exercise. I'd love for you to come to hands and knees if that's possible. You can always cushion your knees with a blanket or a pillow. And we're going to take a moment to push up to down dog. So if that's not for you today, you can stay on hands and knees, and we'll work our way into a different way of doing it. So I'm going to push back to down dog, lift the knees, push into the hands, look in between the legs, let your head relax, get your feet nice and wide. So walk your feet out wider than normal, and then feel like your heels are pushing wide. Again, you'll feel your sits bones separate, your low back having a little bit of space. Push into the hands, lift the low belly. If you're on your hands and knees, you can just feel like your thighs are pushing wide. Create a little bit of space there. And then look in between the hands. We're going to walk the right foot up in between the hands into a lunge. If you're on hands and knees, you can kind of just scoot your foot up and place it there. Good. And then from here, step your back foot closer. So we're going to plant the back foot, grab onto our block or put a pillow or blanket underneath, put it on the high end and push into the block. Separate your feet, so move the front foot wider. And we're going to go into pyramid pose. Pyramid pose is great to help relieve sciatica. So our feet are separated, toes on both feet are pointing forward, our back heel is flat on the ground, arms are lengthened to start. Lift your low belly and your chest. Allow that space to come in the low belly. And then notice your back hip. See if you can move it forward and your forward hip back. You might start to feel some sensation down the outer part of your front leg. So stay there for a moment. Create lots of space, lengthen, tuck the chin, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then if it feels comfortable for you, you can soften the elbows a little bit and fold over that front leg. This can be pretty intense. If you have mobility, you can even bring your hands to the ground, whatever is right for you today. Continue to feel like your back hip is moving forward and your forward hip is moving back. Feel like your front heel is dragging back. You might feel a big opening in the back of the front leg. And take one more breath here. Elbows are soft, folding forward. And then bend the front knee. You can push back to down dog or back to hands and knees, whatever is right for you. We'll stay in down dog or hands and knees. Feel like your heels or your thighs are pushing wide. Create a little bit of space. And then look in between the hands. Let's walk that left foot in between the hands. So if it doesn't get up there, you can kind of just scoot it on up. And then we'll take that back foot and move it a little closer. Keep your feet nice and wide. So move that front foot wide. Bring your hands to a block, pillow, or blanket to raise yourself up. And then make sure both heels are planted on the ground. Long legs, so both legs are lengthened, the front leg is long. And then take your back hip, move it forward, your front hip, move it back. So square off the hips, lift your low belly, create some space, and then soften the elbows, fold over the front leg. Relax the back of the neck. Front leg is long. If you want, you can reach towards the floor. And then continue that sensation of the back hip moving forward, the forward hip moving back. Feel like your front heel is dragging back. Open up the back of the leg. One more deep breath here. Bend the front knee. You can push back to hands and knees or to down dog one last time. Feel like your hips or heels are pushing wide. And then everybody make their way down to hands and knees. And we'll sweep the legs all the way through. You can come to your side if you want, or sweep across the ankles. And come to laying flat on the back. So lower all the way down. Let's lift that right leg up. Extend that right foot long and then plant it down. Do the same thing. Left knee bends, extend that left leg and then plant it as it's lengthening all the way down. Relax the arms along your side, palms face up. And we're moving into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Just taking note of how the hips connect to the earth. Your shoulder blades are connected. If you need any final adjustments to feel comfortable, you can do that. You can also keep your knees bent if this is too much for your low back. So feel free to bend the knees. And just take a few breaths here, relaxing, surrendering. We did a lot of deep work today. And one more breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Bend the knees, point them up towards the sky, feet flat on the floor. And we're going to do one final thing. Bring your feet nice and wide out to the edges of the mat and allow your knees to fall in. So just take a moment to release any residual tension in the low back. Noticing how your body feels from the beginning of class until now. And then hugging the knees into the chest. Give yourself one nice final hug. We'll roll over to one side, make our way all the way up to seated. So if seated is not for you, you can come to kneeling. You can put a block, blanket, or a pillow underneath you to prop your hips up. We're just going to do some final breath work, allowing our breath to bring awareness to any tension in the body. So gently close the eyes, relax your shoulders away from the ears. And do a final scan of the body, noticing where there might be some residual tension. And on an inhale, breathing into that space. On an exhale, softening, surrendering. Again, noticing any residual tension. Inhale, creating space in that area. Exhale, releasing and letting go. And one final breath. Inhale through the nose. Expanding. Exhale, softening. And relaxing your concentration. Let's bring the hands to heart center. Take a moment to bow the mind to the heart and thank yourself for showing up today, for being present with your body, noticing any physical challenges you might be facing and addressing those issues. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm Kim Goyette, your meditation mother. If you like this video and you want to be the first to receive weekly videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Yoga with Meditation Mutha. See you next time.